Hello, happy snow day. Happy snow day. The first day of the month of February 2021. 2121, right? Kind of interesting, huh? Are you having a snow day if you're in the Northeast somewhere? Around the Philadelphia region? Well, here's the situation. I'm gonna break it down for you. You know, I'm trying to read the physical newspaper, the actual paper newspaper delivered to my home, Philadelphia Inquirer, every day. That's the goal. I've been doing it since January 5th, I believe. A nice little run so far. Well, today, looked outside, snow covering the street, snow covering the sidewalk, although some kind soul did snow blow my sidewalk for me without even being asked. Good neighbors. Good neighbors. So, looked outside, walked out there, took a gaze around the area, the yard. Typical places I sometimes find the paper has blown to because of the wind, or the delivery guy just did a kind of errant toss and landed somewhere it typically doesn't land, maybe. Fortunately, zero paper anywhere I could find. No physical papers. Inquirer and the New York Times today. It's a snow day, so, you got to make do. So, when it snows, you got to make snowmen. And so what we're going to do today, I may be a little reluctant to do this because I like to promote the actual delivery of the physical paper product of the newspaper. But again, to keep the streak alive of reading the paper, or at least the contents of the paper every day, we're going to do a little online version. A little online version scrolling and reading. Now, I don't want you to get used to this. This is the easy way out. Okay? Reading the paper, feeling the crinkling of the pages, the sounds, the experience of turning the pages physically, that is very important to the whole aesthetic, the whole relaxation process, the calmness that comes about with a read. Having it online, scrolling through it like so, while it seems, oh, that's nice. I can see exactly what's going on. I can see exactly what's being read. I can read it myself. It takes away from the whole guided experience that I'm trying to foster. So what we'll do, again, because of these extenuating circumstances, is we will read it together. Now, I will attempt to read it off of the internet while I show some parts of it live. Let's see how it goes. Okay? It's going to be hard for us to separate sections, but what I'm going to do is just click into each section, take a look at what it represents or what it looks like on line here, and then we'll go back and start reading in more depth like we would do for our typical reads. Let's try it. Okay, we're all going to just try this out together in real time. So if we attempt to do this separating sections thing, and we do it in a way that allows us to be still kind of the split screen concept, we could start with saying we have the front page, right? Front section. We got nation and world, which is part of the front page, but looks like in the Inquirer, they, on the online version, they split it so you can skip right to it, which is nice. We go to the opinions, right? So you get a quick look at what's in the opinions section today. Now remember, you have to subscribe to the paper or the online subscription to gain access to this, digital version of the actual paper. So you're getting a sneak peek here if you don't subscribe to what the digital version looks like. In the region, it looks a little bit like this. It looks exactly like this. Nice looking reproduction of it, isn't it? Nice and crisp, nice and clear. Here's our OBITS, a separate section, which we'll get to. Business. Life. Sports. All right. And then lastly, weather. We don't need to click on that. We know weather comes as part of sports. So why will we click on that? We're going to wait. We're going to wait on weather like we would in the traditional world prior to a snow day. I'm going to get right to reading about flyers. What do you think? Okay. That way or the other way? Maybe like this? Ooh, let's try that today. Huh? What do you think? Let's try this for a little bit. See how it goes, huh? So, yeah, as you can see, Flyers won last night. Another overtime win over the New York Islanders. 4-3. Kevin Hayes scores the game-winning goal. Flyers have used a quirky formula to climb up to the standings. Get outplayed, get outshot, win anyway. Kevin Hayes scored a power play goal with 37 seconds left in overtime, and the Flyers won their fourth in a row. And a second in a row over the Islanders. 4-3. It's a very resilient group, Hayes said. It's very easy to point fingers and start panicking, but that doesn't happen here. Kevin Hayes is a good example. He knows just what to say. But sitting out the night before, looks like TK, Travis Konechny, supposed to light a fire onto him, but seemed to inspire Joel Farabee instead, who had a hat trick. First of his career. He's only 20. He joined Eric Lindros and Mike Richards as the only players in the club history with 3 goals in a game before turning 21. Excuse me. So, what else do we have here? The Flyers play again on Wednesday against the Bruins, trying to maybe rebound and bounce back from that bad losses they had back-to-back a few weeks ago. But the Sixers last night, going on a 31-6 run at the end of the game, fourth quarter, Tobias Harris tearing it up. They improved 15-6 overall and 1-4 in games without Joel Embiid. Embiid didn't play last night, but no matter. The team stepped up, led by a few people off the bench. And I understand. Furkan. How much time have the Sixers been able to spend as a collective group this year talking about and practicing zone defense? Probably about 5 minutes. I'm exaggerating. I'm being honest with you. There's one practice we looked over it a little bit, and it was really in preparation for another team that we were playing that played zone. So, they had a little bit of a different wrinkle, looks like, in that game. And turned out all right for them. I mean, what a comeback. They were down, 20 plus. And I guess they said outscored the Pacers 31-6 in the final 8 minutes, 16 seconds. A lot of points in 8 minutes. Looks like their next game is going to be against the Hornets Wednesday, 7 p.m. Taking a look at Sirianni's first presser, according to Marcus Hayes, not impressed. Bring to mind 2 famous characters, according to Mr. Hayes. Bernie Fife, Pinocchio. Not a good comparison. Not a good comparison with, people that You're like. I want to be compared to Pinocchio. The Eagles fire Gomer Pyle in place with Barney Fife. Golly, says Marcus Hayes. Well, I'm on the life section. This should be sports. Sorry about that. Sure, Doug Peterson acted goofy sometimes, but he was a big, fearless goof. His replacement, Nick Sirianni, held an introductory news press conference Friday where he projected all the confidence of a snared rabbit. Ouch. It's rough, Hayes. He was overwhelmed, unprepared, contradictory. And bless his soul, he lied. He didn't lie at a mouse, but lie he did. As if he had a time frame for naming a starter between broken Carson Wentz and raw Jalen Hurts, Sirianni replied, "That hasn't even crossed my mind." Come on, coach. One NFL source who has deep ties to the organization and was watching the press conference immediately texted me one word. Seriously? My thought exactly. He could say, I haven't decided on when I'll name a starter, or I need to get Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts in front of me for a while, but that hasn't even crossed my mind? Sigh? It sounds even dumber than it sounds false, according to Mr. Hayes. Pinocchio is better at it than this. You can almost see Sirianni's marionettes manipulating him in real time. Little wonder Sirianni stumbled so much his first time on the big stage. I keep thinking back to that take. That article from Les Bowen saying that Sirianni appears polished, calm, composed in his press conferences with the Colts. I mean, maybe again, he just had a tough run, tough first time out, tough first outing. But it was definitely not calm, composed, quick on his feet, whatever else Bowen claimed. So, give him time, but first time, not good. All right, let's go to the next page. It's in Major League Baseball seeking to push back the start of the season. Let's push it back to April 28th. Under the plan presented to the Players Union on Friday, the regular season will be cut from 162 games to 154. 7 teams in each league will make the playoffs, and only the division winner with the best record will receive a bye in the best of 3 first round. Okay. Time to make some adjustments. I mean, listen. Pandemic time. There's no time like the present to make some changes and say, hey, just adjusting to new realities. Go with it. People expect change right now. Lean in, as they say. All right. Next page. It's like before we move on, David Murphy take on Tobias Harris's game, and it's like if he can continue that run, that quality of play, Sixers are going to be in good shape. Don't disagree with that. He's been playing really well. His numbers, I like to find, but his averages, I should say. Wish it would be in here. This article, I'm doing a quick scan, but don't see it. So I could just search right now, I guess, right? It's just a quick look. Tobias Harris. Stats. What's this? How's he doing? He's averaging 20 points a game. Oh. 46% from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 2.7 assists. Good line. A good line. Right? Okay. We go ranking the Flyers' best prospects. This is a nice little spread here, it looks like, from Sam Carchidi. Number 1, Morgan Frost. 2, Cam York. 3, Wade Allison. Then we go into the rest of the batch, all the way down to number 12. Pictures of Morgan Frost here with defenseman Cam York, 1 and 2. Cam York was acquired in 2019, 14th overall selection. It's like they believe that Shane Gostisbehere is getting better and better on the ice. There's no doubt that Shane that I'm seeing on the ice right now has more confidence and is making more plays, Vigneault said. I can only think it's going to get better. All right. The Flyers entered Sunday having killed off 9 consecutive power plays to move from 29th in the league to tie for 24th. The streak stretches 16 minutes, 55 seconds, and includes 14 shots on goal turned away by Flyers goalies. That'll be a little bump in the rankings there for Flyers on their penalty kill. We're moving on to another area here of the sports section, looking like more on Sirianni and his comparison to Gomer Pyle here. Another outdated reference in the sports section today from one of the sports section's columnists. Looking at you, Mike Silsky, yesterday. And then we have our scoreboard, where I like to look to see what's happening with the standings. We got the Flyers 7-2, tied with the Washington Capitals atop the East. Frankly, atop the league with 15 points. And the Sixers also atop the league at 15-6. Only one team, the Clippers, better with more wins or have more wins with 16. Like that. Who's got the most goals this year with the Flyers? Let's take a look here. We got Voracek. He's got the most points, 10, but the most goals, tied for 5. And Riesdyk and Konechny. JBR's having a nice little bounce back season. Good to have him on the squad. All right. Now what do we got? Ooh, it's time for weather. So, when we look at the weather today, what are we seeing? We're seeing what we've, looking out the window, which you can kind of see, which is snow. Snow flurries. You see kind of along the entire, northern Midwest, along to the Northeast, it's just a blue swatch. And all these snowflakes here coming in today. We're going to be dealing with snow all the way through, it looks like, tomorrow morning. Total of 6 to 10 inches. And then we go into some sunny weather before we get back to the clouds on Friday. Today's sunset, 5:21 p.m. Got a couple of days here with no local sports, so take a deep breath. Get ready for and watch other things. Take a sports break for a couple of days. Until then, let's move on to the region. How about that? The region. What we got going on in the region today? School closings, other delays happening because of the snow. Okay. Moving on to page 2. Two killed in separate shootings in the city. 3 people were shot, 2 of them fatally, in separate crimes Sunday in Philadelphia. No. Yeah, so it's just another incidence of people, I guess, getting killed in the city, which is kind of like an everyday thing. And there's a woman found stabbed on fire. Oh, okay, a fire call. Responding to an alert of activated smoke detectors inside a Camden home Saturday. Firefighters instead discovered a woman who had been stabbed in the back and later died. 41 years old. Somebody's trying to cover up their crime, it appears. More snow coverage. And now, it doesn't seem as, I don't know, intimate when I don't have the paper like in my hands, looking over those that have passed and respecting their time on this planet. But again, we're making do here with what we got on a snow day. So we're going to look over these folks in a little more detail here. And respect their time with us, right? Well, right here in front of us, we see Catherine Rosado, beloved wife of late Thomas F. V. Rosado, accomplished seamstress, an excellent cook, and enjoyed crocheting blankets for those she loved. Due to current restrictions, the services and interment will be held privately. Yeah, somebody who helped find the rock band Animals, Hilton Valentine. He passed. There he is. Mr. Valentine. Rest in peace. Who else do we have here? Joanne Fulmer. Peacefully passed on January 28th, 2021. She's got a lot of sons she survived by. She was graduate secretary for English, Geology, and History departments at Temple and Tyler School of Art. Navy Yard Joe, this guy was known as Joseph Stoufire, 77. Don't know why he was called Navy Yard Joe. I couldn't tell you why. See, Navy Yard Joe. But he was. So those are the Navy Yard who knew Joe. You know, sorry for your loss, and his family, sorry for your loss. Scrolling down now, we have a Joseph Pizzo. Rest in peace, Joe. LaSalle College High School graduate, Temple University, and Drexel University. He's a talented engineer and inventor. He worked for major companies in Philadelphia, eventually owning his own model and prototyping business in Runnymede. Successful. Norma Shaw. Graduated UPenn. Became an inspiring educator, wife, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and friend. She enjoyed the arts, entertaining, wild flowers, decorating playing cards, and the birds. Your Philadelphia Eagles. Go Norma. Oh, we have a younger person, 65, Samuel Tortoris. Rest in peace. Okay. Took a look at the OBITS. Now we can close down the region. You might be able to move to life. What do you think about that? Let's do it. What's going on in the life section today? Fortunately, we're going to be stuck with scrolling through it online. I know it seems like, I like to be able to see the screen like this. Could this be an option going forward? No. It can't be. It's about the printed paper. But again, I just want to keep offering that disclaimer as we go through this. Monday's child, so what they have usually is a young person who needs to be, or is looking to be adopted. And this today is Franklin, who smiles and giggles around loved ones. She's a happy and playful 10-year-old who will steal your heart the moment you meet him. Sorry, it's a boy. He might be shy at first, but it doesn't take long for him to connect with you, especially if you smile, play with him, or make him laugh. He radiates happiness and cheerfulness, and he is sure to fill a home with his lively spirit. If you have room for Franklin or any foster child, you can reach out to Sarah Marino right here. An article about Norman Lear. Not interested? You knew it. Look at that. Right next to each other, too. Right next to each other. You got your CAROLYN column here, and then you got your Scorpio right next to it. I'm going to start with CAROLYN, though, first. I'm going to read it without you being able to see what I'm reading. And I'm going to do the same for the Scorpio, just to keep you on your toes. CAROLYN time to read an advice column. Are you ready? Ready? I'm going to read it directly from the interweb. Here we go. I signed up for an online dating again yesterday, and I can already see why I've given up so easily. Most of the conversations are one-sided. I ask a question, and they reply with a one-word answer. I ask another question, and they reply with another brief answer. They don't elaborate or ask questions about me. I lose interest quickly and move on to the next person, only for the same thing to happen. On the rare occasion that someone can hold a conversation, there's usually some other reason it won't work out. Their divorce isn't final yet. They're in an open marriage, only looking for a hookup. They smoke. They hunt. Sounds like you have a lot of stipulations about who you're trying to meet. Maybe you should reduce that criteria a little bit. I'm a non-smoking animal lover looking for a one-on-one relationship. Gosh darn it. Do I just need to lower my standards? CAROLYN says, yikes. Never. Dating out of the car just might not be a good fit for you. The most reasonable current alternative is to expand the number of places you show up in person, when and how it's safe to do so, where you have a possibility of meeting other people. Since you have deal breakers, choose places where people with the same deal breakers might congregate. Animal rights causes, politically like-minded causes. The benefit of meeting people in person versus shopping for them online is that you can see them in their entirety, which can allow you to see they're good for you in ways you wouldn't have recognized on paper or on a screen. Maybe you should say, CAROLYN. Quick answer from CAROLYN on that one. She almost dismissed that person. She's like, enough. I don't feel like hearing it from you. Because we got another question here. We got a second question, a bonus question. My sister-in-law asked to open a checking account for my children so she and the grandparents could deposit money into their accounts easily. Sounds good, right? Money's good. I believe this was for birthdays, Christmas, and occasional gifts. She has been depositing upward of $250 a month for the last 6 months into both my daughter's accounts. Whoa! Shame on me for just realizing this. She is a single professional woman with no children of her own, is great to my kids, and will do anything for them. However, I am not comfortable with this. I feel this is setting them up for failure, believing they do not have to work to earn money. My husband, her brother, does not agree. He feels if she wants to help them, I should let her. I am fuming inside at both my husband and his sister for thinking this is okay. How do I approach this calmly and confidently, as well as see if perhaps I'm blowing this out of proportion? CAROLYN's answer. One data point does not an ethos make. Or if it does, you won't know which except in hindsight. And one generous aunt won't undo everything you as parents are doing. Can we change the conversation though? Real fast. Keep the money and steer all but an allowance's worth to a 529 college savings account in your name. Like today. Ask sis to do that for you, or make yourself a co-signer on the account if you haven't already, so you can move the money yourself. Everyone happy, nobody spoiled, education's financed. I like that. 529. Good advice. There is your CAROLYN Hacked Advice column for 2-1. 2-1. Now, what do we got? What do we got today, Madeline Aslan? We got another bogus horoscope, but we have some progress towards reality. It's been good. It's been good lately. Scorpio. Subtly, discretion is more important than usual. You cherish your privacy today. You'll be aware of the secret worries of others. There are opportunities to be helpful, almost like a guardian angel to those less fortunate. That's nice. It's a nice thought. Okay. Thank you, Madeline. I will take all that into consideration today. Moving on to, we did sports, we did life. Now we're going to go to business. Allbirds. I'm sure you've seen those shoes on your local Instagram feed if you're getting boxed into that sort of demographic like I've been. I'm not interested in buying any Allbirds shoes, but I know it's kind of a thing, I guess, for a certain age group of men and women, perhaps. Looks like they're trying to get some physical stores in place. Good for them. Gonna move on. Shake Shack and Sweetgreen going all in on drive-thrus. Probably a good decision for a lot of chains, actually, trying to get, less foot traffic inside their restaurants. Shake Shack announced in October that it will open its first drive-thru late this year with as many as 8 by 2022, the end of 2022. Drive-thrus are on special order at many restaurants as owners race to put customers at ease during the pandemic and prepare for a food service future increasingly ruled by convenience. Drive-thrus are easy to build, he said, but not easy to operate when customers pour in. What's truly hard is to make sure that the line keeps moving. That's what Sandy Siegel, president of Newmark Merrill Cause. Sorry. Got to get them in and out in 10 minutes. Who wants to spend their lunch hour sitting in a car? A lot of people do, actually, now. A lot of people have to. Instead of eating in their offices or somewhere else. Like, I'm just going to eat this burger in the car. Give myself some alone time. Yeah. I think Chipotle is also trying to get a more drive-thru going on. There's a picture of somebody at Sweetgreen. That's not a drive-thru, though. That's somebody walking up to the counter ordering a salad. All right. What's on the next page of business today? Picture of 2 people wearing masks, one of them Joe Biden. A new CEO at Walgreens, only black female CEO of a Fortune 500 company. A little crazy that that's the case. All right. Not seeing anything else here that I want to read about today. Let's go to the next page. You got your crosswords, comics, and then you're done with business today. Now we're going to move right to front page. Front page. Scroll through the front page, and then we'll be done for the day. Again, did the best we could with what we got. Now remember, this is the Inquirer. It's just online. So it literally is the paper Inquirer, just published online, which I like. Okay. Not really seeing anything on the front page here that I want to delve into too much. Republican launches pact to defy Trumpism. I know this guy. I see him on TV a lot. Adam Kinzinger. This is a time to choose. My goal in launching Country First is just to say, look, let's take a look at the last 4 years. How far we have come in a bad way, how backward looking we are, and how much we peddle darkness and division. Okay. He's one of 10 Republicans to vote to impeach Donald Trump earlier this month, and he's launched a new leadership political action committee that is designed to become a financial engine to challenge the former president's wing of the GOP. Hey, somebody's got to give it a shot. So, you go at them. See what you can do here. Some more sanity in that party, the leadership of that party. It could be only a good thing for the rest of us. Cruising through here, scrolling through. Okay. I mean, this just seeing the headline here makes me want to just like close down the whole entire operation and just toss myself out this window. I mean, come on. Come on. Protesters briefly halt coronavirus shots. Maskless protesters rally against the COVID-19 vaccine, lockdowns, and masks. Protests stalled thousands of motorists in line for a vaccine for an hour on Saturday. One of the largest vaccination sites in the country briefly shut down because of jackasses. Sorry. I know I shouldn't be judgmental about these lovely, misguided folks. I'm just going to say it. But I can't help it. I can't help it. For nearly an hour, 1,000 motorists in line to get a coronavirus vaccine shot at Dodger Stadium were stalled as about 50 people demonstrating against immunization efforts caused officials to temporarily close the site's gates. The protests had no impact on the eventual number of shots given, which can vaccinate 8,000 a day at the site. Protesters, members of anti-vaccine and far-right groups, organized online, according to the LA Times, which first reported about the closure caused by the, quote, scamdemic post. It's a big scam. The 400,000 people that died, they don't exist. Just made up. All the trauma that people have been going through and all the grief that they've been suffering because they can't see their relatives who are dying. It's all fake. Quote, please refrain from wearing Trump MAGA attire as we want our statement to resonate with the sheeple. A social media post for the planned demonstration said. Dozens of protesters arrived at the site Saturday, many carrying signs and messages undermining efforts to curb infections and calling the epidemic that has killed more than 438,000 Americans a, quote, scam. My 69-year-old high-risk mom, Benny, got the shot. She said she could hardly even feel it. We teared up. We waited a year for this. Get your vaccine, said Michael Jolet, frontman for the band Airborne Toxic Event. All right, well, listen, we'll take anybody of any sort of stature or, fame caliber to spread the word and to counteract these folks by saying, yeah, actually, you know what? Go get a shot. It's a good thing. So thank you, Michaela Jolet. It's just disappointing. I realize there are people who have been anti-vaxxers for a while, but to take this extra step of trying to prevent other people from getting it just seems to me like a whole new level of evil, said Adam Michelson, a Los Angeles-based singer who brought his 81-year-old mother to the stadium for a first dose of the Moderna vaccine. Yeah, just get out of people's way. You don't want to get the vaccine, then you don't get it. I mean, I don't. All right, moving on. Nation and world. And we're at the op-eds, letters and op-eds. We've made it. We can look at a nice, big, colorful picture of the cartoon today. And I would have made a fortune if it hadn't been for those meddling kids. Ooh. Kind of like that. We got the lead editorial today, judicial power grab. PA's democracy might not survive a Republican effort to gerrymander the courts. Letters to the editor, your regular folk coming in. Talking about preserving the old with the new. Rick Snyderman, founding member and past president, Old City Arts Association. Philly's vaccine mess. As a Phase B person in a Penn Medicine geriatric practice waiting for a vaccine, I am beyond just anxious. The critical choice of the city bosses to choose a 100% untested vendor looking for a buck is frightening and dangerous. Even worse is the lack of empathy, communication, or care by Penn and Jefferson, our major health providers. Not one communication to patients, many reachable via email. I have been a patient at 3 other hospitals in Washington, D.C. and New York and had contact from each learning how to access vaccines if qualified. Most of my age group associates in D.C. have already received vaccines. I have 3 older siblings living in other states, 2 older, 1 younger. I'm the only one with not even a glimmer of hope for a vaccine. In Philadelphia, we read about vaccines stuffed in Andre Dorshan's backpack and more vaccines that a University of Pennsylvania email offered to non-qualified individuals and employees with no critical contact with patients or at-risk people. No wonder people ask about fraudulent voting in Philadelphia, the world capital of it is what it is. I was saying yesterday, or whenever it was, Philly, the census, can't get the census, can't get that under control. Can't deliver the vaccines right. Can't do street sweeping. Had an issue with getting trash during the pandemic. Mail. I know it's not just here, but it's mail. Politics. Bureaucracies. I don't know. Entrenched procedural processes. It's just so much. You gotta evolve, Philly. You gotta evolve. What else we have here? You got a letter from Deanna Burney. Evaluate Renaissance schools. Alan Glasser. Wayne. Walt Kelly was correct when he wrote, "We have met the enemy and he is us." Civil discourse has all but disappeared. Logic and truth have fallen, replaced by unsupported rumors and accusations. The political parties of yesteryear frequently disagreed about specific issues, but generally acted with integrity and were guided by a strong sense of ethics and morality. Dignity and respect have fallen to cults and cables. The day-to-day fighting and name-calling is slowly but surely eroding the foundation of our country. Regardless of our political leaning, let's applaud truth and facts. Reject the politicians who are determined to foster the personal agenda by not winning support based on facts, but by inventing falsehoods about others. Like COVID is a scam and the vaccines don't work. Those kind of things. Reject the politicians who said that. Ask ourselves how we feel if the person we work for continually invented lies and only propagated those lies. What if the person we work for continually blamed us or others for his or her own missteps? Walt Kelly was absolutely correct. Now, how do we extract ourselves from this quagmire? Seek truth and rely upon it. Common sense, courtesy, dignity. We all succeed or we all fail. Together. Good stuff, Alan. Just a regular guy writing into the Inquirer, making a good point. And the last page of letters today and op-eds features one from George Will. Trump committed an impeachable offense, but that doesn't make impeachment prudent. School board silences parents by Stephanie King. President of the Kearney Friends, community group supporting General Philip Kearney School in Northern Liberties. You want to read about her gripe with the Philadelphia School Board. And then lastly, don't make teacher who attended the Capitol rally a free speech martyr. Let's read that. Jonathan Zimmerman teaches education history at the University of Penn, and he's a co-author with Tunis Siggy Williamson of Free Speech and Why You Should Give a Damn. I've read a lot of pieces from Jonathan, and he can be a little incendiary. He could be a little bit of a button pusher, but I like his takes. So let's read a little bit. Let's imagine that Jason Moorhead was teaching a class about 2020 election, and his students said that it had been stolen by the Democrats. What would Moorhead do? That's a big question we should be asking about Moorhead, the Allentown social studies teacher who was put on paid leave after social media showed him participating in the Stop the Steal rally that preceded the U.S. Capitol insurrection on January 6th. The school district says it was conducting a formal investigation of his involvement in the protest, but it should pay much more attention to what he has said in the classroom, especially now that Moorhead is pushing to return there. Moorhead's attendance at the protest, coupled with social media posts, suggested he thinks the election was stolen. One post shows a picture of himself wearing a MAGA hat and carrying a Revolutionary War flag with the caption, "Doing my civic duty." Of course, Moorhead has the same right as any other American to express what he thinks. But he has no right, none, to spread falsehoods in his own classroom. And he also has a duty to rebut students who embrace them. A biology teacher cannot tell her class that the Earth was created in 6 days, or that vaccines cause autism. An environmental studies instructor can't say that human-made climate change is a hoax. And a history teacher must not declare that a Holocaust never happened. Even more, teachers should correct these claims when students make them. It isn't enough to let them slide, or to pretend that there are two sides to these questions. They're not questions at all. They're myths, distortions, and lies. So what did Jason Moorhead do when the election came up in his own classroom? We don't know yet, of course, but his recent comments to CNN's Michael Schmerkanish should give us pause. Quote, "I definitely have some conservative values and beliefs, but they have never taken part in what I do in the classroom," Moorhead told Schmerkanish. "I've always encouraged my kids to be critical thinkers and to form their own opinions, ones they can be proud to have. But whereas everyone is entitled to their own opinions, as Daniel Patrick Moynihan famously said, they're not entitled to their own facts. So our teachers have to be clear and explicit about which are which. Some statements are facts, which are beyond debate. Others are opinions, which must remain open to it. Did Trump incite the January 6th riot? Should he have been impeached? And what should the Senate do in response? Those questions should all be up for grabs in our schools because reasonable and informed people disagree about them. But reasonable and informed people do not disagree about whether the election was stolen. Nor do they debate whether Democrats are running a pedophile ring out of Congress, as QAnon adherents have imagined. Those aren't opinions or facts. They're lies. And it's the job of our schools to teach the difference. Did Jason Moorhead? Again, that's the only question that matters here. Moorhead says he stayed 1.25 miles away from the Capitol and didn't actually storm the building. If that's confirmed, we should stop talking about what he said or posted. That will simply turn him into a free speech martyr on Fox News and its friends. This shouldn't be a question of free speech at all. It's one of education. As a citizen, Moorhead should be allowed to drive to D.C. and scream his lungs out in protest about whatever he chooses. But as a teacher, he must tell his students the truth, as the best scientists and scholars have determined it, and correct them when they err. The issue isn't what he said outside of the class, it's what he did inside of it. And there is the closing editorial of your online read of the digital paper. Today, 2/1/21. It wasn't too bad. I mean, it didn't feel the same, but it wasn't too bad. I hope that you enjoy that. Make do with what we have kind of read. And I hope you're having a nice snow day so far. If you're in the area where you're getting snow. And we're done. Until tomorrow, have a great rest of the day. Thanks for stopping in.